Hello and welcome to a game called War Thunder. Now before we start I'll just go into the gist of what the game is and where it's going. So kind of, if you look at it in this sense, I'm not saying it's a rip-off of World of Tanks, but they must have got the inspiration from that, because what they're basically doing is, you probably know that wargaming.net are the inventors of World of Tanks, and you probably now know that they're making a World of Warships and a World of Warplanes, and you can see what they've done here in War Thunder, which is made by Gaijin Entertainment, I think, is that they're making pretty much the same kind of genre of game. You've got military warfare based in kind of in and around the World War II period, and in this case they've got all of them mixed together. So you've got aviation, which is obviously planes, you've got army, which I'm assuming is going to be like tanks and stuff, and you've got fleet, which is going to be like the ships. Now at this point in time they've only got the planes out, so there's only plane combat, there's no tanks or fleet. So you can kind of see from a bit of a gist of things, they've obviously gone with planes first, so they have a bit of a step ahead of World of Tanks, because obviously they came out first with tanks. Everyone's going to play the market leader, which is of course World of Tanks. So what they've kind of done is try to cut ahead of Wargaming so that they build a ground base, which I'm not saying is a bad thing. It is a nice game. I'm not really going to be playing a proper battle today because I don't really have that much time. Again, it's one of those problems I'm having lately because of revision and such, and they can last a long time, and generally I don't really have enough experience to do that. But what I will show you is this new plane which I've recently just got, which is a tier 2 fighter, German fighter, which is pretty nice actually. It's relatively fast, it's a pretty decent plane. So instead of doing that, I'm kind of going to guide you through some of the controls and stuff in a test light. So you've got difficulty level, you've got simplified, which is effectively you control it simply with the mouse and keyboard, which is obviously, unless you've got a joystick, you want to be using this. Realistic is obviously where you've got, you can still use it with the mouse, but it's going to be a bit hard because it's built for analog controls rather than digital. So if you're trying to fly with a mouse and keyboard, you're going to find it pretty tricky. But again, I can see this game isn't really that simple. You can choose it to be simple, or you can have a full out joystick setup system. You've got fuel and ammo, of which again you can limit, and you've got machine guns, which I can only have ×2 of, and there we go. So that's basically what I'm going to do. I'm going to go into the test light. I'm hoping the volume is okay. I can barely hear it because I did turn it down very, very low, which I don't know, may not work too well. So basically what we've got here is you do land and take off most of the time. In an arcade battle you usually start off up in the air, and you can land as well, which I probably will do just to show you what it's all about. So here we've got the brakes are on, we've got our plane here, we've got the pilot sitting in there. It looks quite cool. This is on like the movie setting as well, the actual graphics. I'm wondering how well this will set out. So I think you'll admit that it does look quite nice. I mean, it's like any flight simulator. The planes look great, but the landscape often doesn't look anywhere near as great. But you can see the sun flare off the wings. The planes look lovely, just like the trees and such, because you're supposed to be up in the air, don't look quite so good, but it's not really too much of a problem. So we can toggle views. We've got the cockpit view, which is quite nice. If you're probably that serious into it, you'll probably want to use this, but again, for conventional play you probably don't want to be using this too much, because I find it awkward to play in. And then you've got this view, which is basically just like the gunner's view or something. So we press shift, we want to go up to around 100%, so it takes a while to accelerate for some reason, this plane in particular. So go up to 100% throttle. We want to kind of keep the nose down a bit, so we use that by the mouse. And you can hold down shift to get a boost. If you see my throttle in the top left hand corner, you can see we're at 109%. We don't want to be at that for too long, because bad things will happen, we'll blow up the engine. Now we're at probably a decent enough speed to start to take off, so we're going to get up here. We do have control of the gears, but usually automatically does it. This is the first plane that's got that actually automatically, where you can actually choose whether you want the gears down or up, which I usually find tricky, because the good thing about the ones where they're always down is of course when you're going for a landing you don't forget. So when we're in the air we can kind of control the throttle a bit, so I may want to go down to 36%, save a bit of fuel, and we can press the middle mouse button to get a lock on the nearest enemy, or the one we're pointing at. So we've got a vehicle down there, and the reason I'm kind of slowing down the throttle a bit is so we can get a good approach. We may just go up a bit more because we're losing a bit of speed, But this is one of the good things, is that you can control it. So obviously if I'm going for a land vehicle, I don't want to be passing by it as a fighter at like 400 kilometers an hour, because I'm not going to do anything. You want to get in nice and close and get a good few shots at it, which is usually what I struggle. I'm just going to go in the cockpit for a bit just to show you what this is all about. Because I can't get a feed for you, because if I move the mouse or also move the plane, I can't really look around that much, but you can see it is quite cool up here. Let's just toggle back. And we're going to go in for approach. So for this, we kind of want to go down relatively low. I'm going to press Z so we get kind of a zoomed in view. Now, the worry here is that I'll probably crash, but there you go, I didn't. Managed to destroy that vehicle. Now I'm going to go over a few kind of maneuvers and stuff, so we go back up to full throttle, get a bit of speed. So one of the main kind of maneuvers in a plane, especially when dogfighting, is the famous barrel roll. Now, this plane isn't that good at that. As you can see, it's pretty slow. So in terms of a barrel roll, it's pretty rubbish, because if you're barrel rolling that slowly, it's not going to help you that much. But yeah, there you go. There's a couple of barrel rolls there. Hope you enjoy them. Try not to crash. So we're back at 100%. I'm just going to go back for a little boost, which kind of shakes the camera a bit. It's called the afterburner in this game, I think. I'm not really 100% sure why, because obviously this thing doesn't really have an afterburner, but that's just a game feature, which is again quite nice. And until you get to the obviously better planes, this plane is going to be pretty slow. I mean, you can see my speed's about 340 kilometers an hour, which isn't too. It's not really that slow, but you think about it in miles per hour, because most people probably watch my videos, me look at it as miles per hour. It's probably we're going about 200-ish miles per hour at the moment, which for a plane is very slow. In fact, a Bugatti Veyron could probably easily beat us here. So I'm just going to play for a bit longer so you can get a bit more feel for the game. It is a nice game. It is a very nice game. It's like a flight simulator, which is just more fun than a flight simulator, because a conventional flight simulator, Microsoft, it's kind of just like passenger airlines and stuff. It's not that fun when you can't shoot. And I think the idea of World War II planes is quite fun as well. So I think what we're going to do here, so I've kind of got the hang of this now. If we go around the corner, we can just kind of pitch the plane a bit. Looks a bit wobbly there. Don't want to crash. Now for this, I think I'm going to go in for a landing. So what we want to do here is kind of take the throttle down to about 40%. This isn't like a real figure. This is kind of just me show you how I usually land. So because we're planning to land, we probably want to bring down the gears, so we use G for that to start getting the landing gears down. That's something I always forget. I always forget to do that, and you suffer the consequences when you forget to put the gears down. So there's the runway there. It looks doesn't really stick out that much, which I suppose is a good thing, because you don't want it to get bombed. And at this point we want to go down a bit lower, probably 30%. We're going slow enough at this point. We're going about 200 kilometers an hour. We're probably not far or stalling really, but here we go. And usually what I do here, which I'm not sure is that recommended, is I just start to glide, because at the end of the day there's not really much point having the engine on. You just can glide in, and hopefully we'll get a perfect landing. Just bounced off a bit there. Yeah, it's a bit of a rough landing. And then we want to hold control, and the plane will start to brake. You can see the air brakes there, which is pretty cool. And there you have it. You can brake, you can do everything, you can land. So it is a very good game. I'll stop here because I'm about to be repaired. But thanks for watching this video today, guys. I hope you did enjoy it, because it's a bit different, and it works well for me as well, because I can put some time aside for this, and I know how long it's going to take. So if you did enjoy it, remember to like and subscribe, and if you want to see more of it, like, definitely, and comment on any suggestions, even maybe a comment just saying you may want to play at some point. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.